Hello, beautiful humans. Welcome to the SHEnanigans podcast, where we bring the human back to small business. And because we can have serious conversations anytime, SHEnanigans is happily supported by WCTV here in Wadsworth. And today's guest is the owner and the founder of Custom Care Rehab and my favorite partner in any cake crime. Please welcome my brainstorm buddy, Amy.
Hey, let's chat away. Small towns, big dreams in the fray. Grab a seat, come on, stay. Community shines bright.
Jenny, thanks so much for having me. I am really excited. Have no clue what we're going to get into, so I'm ready.
I never do either, so it's okay. But before we start, let us break the ice.
Okay.
Inside, we have candy provided by Sweets on High, downtown Wadsworth. You're going to open the bowl. You're going to pick candy. Whatever you pick, I will mirror what you pick, and we will enjoy it awkwardly together here on this podcast.
All right.
And we have water, because
Yes.
you never know.
Okay.
Jet and I just did sour candy.
Ooh, I haven't done
That
these
was
in a
enjoyable.
while.
Isn't that enjoyable?
Yes.
I know. Dig. We're getting kind of low on some things.
Yes, if I was 12,
Yes.
these all look really exciting.
Correct.
Let's go with Razzles.
Oh.
That seems the
Okay.
least aggressive.
Okay. I think it kind of is like an insight into personalities as well. Razzles.
Razzles.
When's the last time you had a razzle?
I don't know if I've ever. Let's try something new. I mean, I'm not about to gnaw on these wax bottles.
And yeah, you can take one
This
home.
would be like ASMR
Yes.
overload.
Yes.
And that's just not going to happen for too long.
Yeah. These are actually flavored. I can't tell you what their flavor is. But
Sriracha.
I can promise you that it is not candy cane. Okay, so you've never heard of razzle?
No.
They feel hard. So this is also a lesson in podcasting. Maybe kind of curate the candy a little bit better. Jet and I just ate bubble gum.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
sour. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
So I'll give you
okay.
one. All right. And then
All right.
we'll count it down and we'll, give it a little review.
I hope it's like a bottle cap. That's what I'm hoping for.
I don't remember. It feels a little hard.
Okay.
All right. Here we go.
Cheers.
Then it's gum, it says. All right. Ready?
Ooh.
Yeah,
Okay.
Again with the double gum.
All right. This
all right.
feels like just a bad college moment.
Yeah. Ready? Go. Oh, it's really
Which I
hard.
never had one.
Oh, that's weird. I can tell you, I'm not into it, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Let us chew.
I want to break a tooth. I'm all right with it. It just tastes like a sour Tums.
Here's a sour. Mm-hmm. I don't like that it, man, I feel bad. It's been a series of really weird candy, and I'm making this terrible face, which really doesn't help Sweets on High out. But, I don't like that it was separate, like chalk,
Uh-huh.
and then it came back together like gum.
Okay. Yeah, I was waiting. I didn't understand how the gum would happen.
I didn't either, and then I learned very quickly. No, thank you. All right. Well, I do know that you shouldn't chew gum.
I have napkins.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Let me ice break this.
Oh, ice break it.
I brought you something because you are always offering things to people.
Aw.
So I brought you 2 things from local businesses.
Ooh, you know I love a local.
So
This back.
Cherry Blossom Donuts from Brunettes in Gordon Square in Cleveland at a book swap networking event that I went to last night because you have inspired me to be a community connector.
Aw.
And I love it. Like, I absolutely love it. Isn't it so pretty?
It is. Oh, did you have this one?
I have not. No, they had 6 different flavors. I
Yeah.
got one of everything.
Yeah.
And then my family chopped up and took out a piece of everything. So that was the only one that I set aside. Everybody else just took a little bit. So that was the only one.
I'm going to enjoy this
So,
alone.
here's the napkin if you need it.
coffee. I'm going to set this right here. And I'm going to spit this out.
Yep. Sorry about that. Sweets on High.
Yeah, sorry, Lillian. Again. No shade. I will say that one time they had Britney Spears donuts. And I'm not the biggest Britney Spears fan, but nostalgia, right? So they were designed based on her songs.
Okay.
I think Jet was like 3. So we went to what's the water? Say it for me. The thing with the rocks in Cleveland that you can sit on, whoosh, and the water splashes up. Edgewater?
Edgewater
The
Park.
edge of the water. There
Edgewater
you
Park.
go.
Yeah.
So we grabbed donuts, sat at the edge of the water, and had brunettes. That was the last time I had it.
nice. Okay.
But I'm a huge fan of their like marketing and social media.
Yeah, I love their vision, which is kind of what attracts me to you too. I think you just have this sense of vision, which is why we like to brainstorm together. You inspire me.
Yes,
So-
you inspire me. So that's funny. Thanks for the segue. You and I met in the most untraditional sense that you were actually vetting for video, right? You gave me a call.
Yeah. So this is how I remember it.
Okay.
And keep in mind, I really don't have a great memory.
Nor
I live
do I.
moment to moment.
Correct.
I'm like, how did we meet? So
Well,
now
let's remember together.
Okay, so what I remember is finding you on social media, and I just remember this chick is cool. Her vibe's cool. She's just full of positivity and energy. And I remember just cold calling, emailing you, saying, hey, I want to learn more about your business. You seem really interesting. You know, is there any way we could connect? Now, that could also be terrifying, just from random stranger, but you probably looked at me and you're like, well, see, she doesn't seem that like,
Yeah.
she's harmless. I will respond back. That's how I remember us being introduced, is me cold calling.
Yeah.
Possibly hitting on you. Like, it could have been either way.
It was. I was at my desk, and you did cold called me, and I was going through my back stuff, and I answered, and you were like, I'm looking for a videographer. Is that something you could possibly? And I remember I went, hold on, what do you do?
Okay.
And you said, I'm concierge. I come to your house. I do PT. And I said, well, something along the lines of, we can talk about video, but how about you come to my house and help me first? And you were like, I think you were totally thrown off. You were like, okay, we can do that. Now, so as soon as you came to my house, it became very clear that you and I vibed very well. You set up your table in my house. I don't know how much time passed. I don't remember. So it was a while. It wasn't like you came over the next day. But you come over,
yeah.
you set up your table, and I'm like laying there, and we're getting to know each other.
Yeah.
While you're
Treating you.
treating me.
Yeah, so doing manual therapy.
Yeah.
And just kind of letting the ideas flow. Everything comes out on that table, by
Yeah,
the way.
yeah.
Yes, we treat physical, but also, brainstorm.
So you and I clicked very quickly that we brainstormed well. We helped each other finish ideas. You were generating ideas, and I was supporting you, and then I'm generating ideas, and you're like, well, how about you do this, or you can add this? And that is kind of what our relationship became, that you would come over to my house, and we'd be like, okay, are you ready to... Not that we consciously were like, let's kick this off, but
Yeah.
we were like, so where are you at? And here's where I'm at.
Yeah.
And it was just that hour of...
Yeah, I was like, and I hope you don't mind,
Yeah.
because I want this to be about you. But yeah, it just kind of flowed like that.
Yeah.
So just on to the next idea.
Yeah.
So what did we come up with?
Well,
Lots of stuff.
Yeah, we came up with a lot of stuff. So at the time, the content pop-up was coming
Yeah.
up, which I had actually said to you prior to even, I believe, meeting Kristen and Sam.
I think so.
I have had this idea in my brain for so long about a retreat, about a small business retreat. And you were like, oh, you're always so positive, like you can do it. And that's why I love you so much, because if you need to execute the idea, you need to meet Amy, because Amy's like, I'm doing this. This is happening. I'm writing a book. I'm doing all these things. I'm adding on employees. What's another branch of my service? I'll figure it out. You don't even question it. There's no doubt. You're just like, yes. So you were just like, well, let's talk through that. What does this look like? Who's there? What's the timing?
Yeah, all the logistics. Like, I think I like the ideation
Yeah.
of business. I'm a little fearful that I don't like the nurture step. Like, okay, yeah, you wrote a book and you published it and it's out and you started a YouTube page and you got over 1 million views and you're monetizing and all, and now you're like, let's move on to the next thing. No, rein it in.
Yeah.
That's where I need your help, or somebody like your visionary going, this is everything you have going on. How can you make it coalesce and blend together? So I find that I'm not good at the nurturing part, which is odd.
So that's so funny. Maybe that's why it was just a natural, like, so you came to my house, and I'll get back to that. You came to my house several times. You got me to meet fantastic people who are helping me. Thank you so much. And you stopped coming to my house, not because I didn't want or need you, but I just needed to, go other ways
Different
to
paths.
cure. But we did not stop hanging out.
Yes.
So I think that is also what keeps us connected, because you do love that first part. And I think love that next step where my brain instantly sees all the webs that can connect your business. So your book and how to flow into talking about it as if they're not individual pieces, but it's a whole brand.
Yeah.
And that's not a new concept or anything like that. But I just naturally I'll see people and I'll be like, well, why aren't you talking about that?
Yeah.
Why?
And you just have an ease of explaining it too. It's just completely natural, as opposed to, I don't know, like there's great business coaches out there, but it just seems like you have an understanding as a business owner who is currently, in the trenches, on how to make your idea and your brand. Look at what you did. She did it. SHEnanigans, all of this stuff. It all makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're living by example. And I'm like,
thank you.
Yes. I'm like, we need more of that.
We need more of that, yeah.
Yes.
And I also need more of you, because fear will hit me and be like, how much more can you take? And I have several people in my pocket, you're one of them, who seem to be able to. Now, maybe inside your brain and in your house, you are a flustered human, but you always seem so well put together and well organized, and nothing phases you, the amount of employees that you take on, the things that you have going on. And I always look to you, or people like you. There's a couple of you who I look at when I think about, how am I going to find time to add a podcast in? It's not a money-making thing. It's just, obviously, I'm creative and
You love to do.
explodes out of my soul, and it's just one more thing. So I look to you and I'm like, well, I want to add one more thing. Amy added a book. You could do a podcast. How the heck did Amy have time to write a book?
Blocking it,
Yes.
making a commitment to yourself. I live by my planner, a visual person for sure. And every minute counts. And that is, I just live by structure, and it's not flustered, but it's organized. And, I think that, being prepared actually helps. So this way I'm not running all over the place and with no plan. It's already in my book. I know in my calendar that it can change, but family stuff first, work stuff, and then Amy stuff, and then big goal stuff.
Yeah. Now, does Amy stuff come, like, let's say the book is going good, and you're like, whoa, this is way easier than I anticipated, and I'm in the vibe. Do you kind of move that order around?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, hey, everybody, I love you so much. I need 48 hours. This is vibing very well. Do you give your family a heads up?
They're about to get a heads up. No. So
Surprise!
Yeah. No, I mean, it's actually been it's been a tough, it's okay, but it's been a tough week where I don't know why we have to delegate everything. I don't want to have that list out. I don't want to have to be the delegator. I want you to put the dishes away. I want you to fold your own laundry. I want you to figure out what's for dinner.
Yeah.
I don't want to make the decisions. So, we're headed to D.C. I'm a chaperone for my daughter's class. So my husband and my son are on their own. Like, you're going to have to wake up with your own alarm. You're going to have to make your own breakfast and take your own allergy meds. I know you'll survive, but let's see what happens if we're gone. That's such a struggle. How do you do with it?
Sometimes I just leave too.
Yeah.
And I think that is not a common concept in a lot of houses. Sometimes I say, goodbye, I'm leaving. I'm going on Tuesday with a friend. She needed a breather from her house. I said, I love my family, but I'll take a breather.
Yeah.
We're just going for 24 hours. They're going to be fine. They're going to play video games. I may come back. The house may be crazy, but they also know that if they don't want mom to pop off, they're going to be helpers.
Yeah.
Also, I'm burnt out right now, so I really don't care if there's dishes in the sink. I am not seeing that right now. I see the couch and chilling out and books and TV. Yeah, so you know.
Yeah, I may have a little OCD where I'm like, I need it to.
Some days.
Some days.
It fluctuates.
Yeah,
Some
if
days
I'm
like,
exhausted-
this is driving me absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Why is everything collecting?
Yeah.
But I'm the same way that I joke, but I'm not joking, that I am married to my calendar.
Yeah.
That's even how I learned to take time for myself in the beginning. I literally put in my calendar, do not do anything on this day.
Yeah.
Until I got used to just by default having me time, me things. This is a me thing.
That's how it happened for me too. I had to put an X on that day and go, you are not
That was just
erasing that day.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do anything
Yeah.
here.
Don't
Yeah.
see any clients. Don't make any meetings. Yes, just go enjoy yourself or watch Netflix, like whatever. And then it started like, oh, I can do this and things survive.
Yeah.
So
And things survive.
Yes.
That's the most important thing. And that includes adding on that one more thing. Okay, it does feel overwhelming to add a podcast. It's not generating revenue. It's just a fun thing. It's for me. It's for the community. I want to talk about small businesses.
Yeah.
But that sounds like a lot. Okay,
Yeah.
so how can I do that where it's easy? So that's why I pick Fridays at the end of
Yeah.
the month. Everybody is done at the end of the month. Everybody is done on a Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody has their own threshold. So there's been other, professionals, women business owners that say, I can't commit to this because I have a little one or, this. And I'm like, we all find a way, but everybody has their own threshold.
Yeah.
So like I had somebody the other day tell me, I can't do this because I don't have a nanny. And I giggled a little bit. I go, I
didn't have a nanny.
I don't know anybody who's ever had actually, I know somebody who's had an au pair.
Okay.
Woo. Yes.
I
Yeah.
just like
I'm
the
like, what's
word.
that?
I'm
yeah.
just going to say I have one. So
I
say
have
the
an au
word.
pair.
I
It's
have
a
an au
doll
pair.
that sits in my kitchen.
It's a tablet.
Yeah. So yeah, I was like, you have a community that you can pull from. That's something that I've learned.
True.
That it is okay to ask for help.
Yes.
I have 3 or 4 friends. I don't care if my husband's out of town and I have to see some clients because the kids get out of school at 2:30. That if I have a girlfriend that can bring the kids home, it's okay. We can't do it all. My kids are 13 and 11. So they're old enough to be in the house by themselves for an hour while I finish up the day.
Yeah.
But I used to be really embarrassed to ask for help.
Yeah.
Why do we do that?
I don't know. You're making me, I'm literally panicking right now because you're making me realize how easy I have it because our school is right next to our house.
Yeah.
So I just had a mini brain meltdown that I actually have to drive up the road. So that's nice to hear because you just made me think, who am I going to ask for help? I don't want to be the help. Maybe I will be the help. I don't know. But, and I also like to add on to what you say, but I like to be an example too for those moms who, with little ones who say they can't find the time. I don't have the time to do this. I can't. I'm too busy. I also like to do what I do and show freedom and creative freedom and vacations and taking 24-hour trips with friends.
Yeah.
Because I want you to know that it's possible. You just have to put that X in your planner. You have to write, do not do anything on this calendar, and you have to ask for help. And sometimes that's your partner, sometimes
Yeah.
it's your family or a friend.
Yeah.
Because you will burn out deeply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You cannot do it all, nor should we try.
No.
But again, everybody has their own threshold. It's okay, whatever season of life you're
Yeah.
in, but don't feel that, you have to do it alone or that you have to, for some reason, be the only one that can take care of your child or you have to put your dreams on hold or whatever. Just block that time for yourself.
Yeah. And it's also, I love that we are an example of, for other people, changing the game on what it means to be a mom, right?
Yeah.
So I don't have to be the one that's home putting the dishes away, running. Y'all got it too. Yeah, everybody can do it. It's not just mom, but also that we're busy working people, running the house, and powerful, and connectors, and community, and just all of the things. It's also important to show that maybe the definition of what a mom looks like or somebody who runs a household, maybe not just a mom, that changes. Same for a dad. Jeremy mostly stays at home. So, yeah.
So how do you feel like with you working with the kids, like do you feel Jet is a little bit more independent? And like I feel like the kids have a better work ethic. They know how to do their own lunches. They're a little bit more independent.
That's also a conversation between only child and 2 kids at home, right?
Yeah.
No, with him, no way. I even said, like, would you like to stay here? And, there's, so it's actually a miracle that he is home right now. He got to stay home for the day, taking a little breather from school, or experiencing burnout in school. So we rinse off SpaghettiOs. We do all these things. So no, our house looks a little bit different, but that's because he is an only child. So his experience with mom and dad is a little bit more like sometimes hyper-focused, which I try to remind my wonderful husband that you can say no sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's okay if he's alone playing basketball or alone doing something. Yeah. I'm better at that than Jeremy is. However, they're both boys. They're having a good time.
Yeah. Good.
Good. Yeah. So, well, how about you?
With what part?
Just kids doing their own thing. You have to remind sometimes, like, do the dishes, because I'm looking for advice also.
Oh, okay. Older child, younger child.
So that's a dynamic to talk about as well.
Yeah, that's a dynamic. And I have to embrace, like I told Bryce, I have to embrace your defiance a little bit.
That's brave.
Yeah. So he will tell me that this cup is red, and I'll be like, no, it's not, it's yellow. And he will try to make an argument of why it's red.
Just because
he gets attention or something. So he loves to be that kid brother that's like, I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. And there are those moments where you just look, you're like, what is going on with your brain?
I'm going to go write my book now.
Yes.
Book 2.
Yes. Why?
Yeah.
So he's my one that's defiant, but I have to embrace it because I was that kid.
Oh.
So I wasn't that argumentative, but always why? Why does it have to be this way? Why does this say this in the Bible? Why does this make sense for religion? Why do we have to do this? I was always
the what? You still do that, just so you know.
No, I always do. I'm like, is there an easier way?
Yeah.
Yes.
So why did you decide to? I'm like, I don't know, Amy.
So my dad told me, like, you should be a lawyer because you like to argue all the time. I said, no, I don't. I like to debate. Yeah. That's different.
Yeah.
And that's my Bryce.
So he's you.
Yeah.
Mirror.
Yeah, he's me. And then Maddie's easy,
Yeah.
She's independent.
Entrepreneur. So that I was going to say, you did ask that question. So I will actually go back and say, I do notice Jet mimicking things that I do, which brings me to your daughter, who is also mimicking her mother.
Yeah, so she started a baking business during COVID, taught her a skill, and then every year she kind of did a little bit more, and now that was part of her high school application. So she's not a sports person. She's more artistic and creative and crochets and does art and clay, and she happens to know how to read a P&L statement and figure out a profit margin and figure out if her things are priced right. So she did that as part of her high school application. And she's also going to apply for some scholarships using a different approach. Some of the books that we read, we talk a lot about books. Be different.
Oh, that's
yes.
That's like my Bible.
Yes. So I'm like, stand out. Don't be afraid to stand out. So she's a little passive, but that is a real world skill. And I think she's better for it. Now she knows that on shopping, Black Friday shopping after Thanksgiving, Mom doesn't say anything. She has $400 to spend. Go ahead. Correct. Once you're done, you're done. But you know how hard it was to work for that. Yeah. So the value of $1, they respect that a little bit more. And she definitely thinks twice before buying something. She's like, do I really need it? Because, that's a lot of money. I'm like, you were ready for me to buy it.
Yeah.
So
we started that with Jet.
Yeah.
So he works with his grandmother, and he cleans like a, what do you call it? A dog salon. So that money, and same thing. You're asking for Legos, all these things. You need to consider how much money you have, and is that worthy of buying? Yeah. And he will weigh out, well, dang, this is $10. Yes, this is a $10 singular Lego that you're probably going to forget about in a week. Do you really want it? Yeah. So it is those kind of skills are
On the other hand, my defiant one goes, are we poor? Because you always ask me if I really need it or want it. I'm like, oh, great. Did I go too far?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I just want you to understand and be grateful for how you have it.
Or weeple. Yeah.
Because we were raised, my parents were young, 18 and 21. I lived in a trailer park when growing up until they had enough money. My mom worked for the post office and my dad worked for my grandfather, who was a mason. We always knew the value of a dollar, how to work together as a family, and to really examine what's important. So now my defiant kid is like, so what's this mean? I'm like, why are you flipping it that way?
Yeah, I understand that too. So we came from, the saying was, don't leave the refrigerator open too long. I'm paying for that light.
Yes.
Like, turn the light off when you leave. So we also grew up that way. So my version of that is very cognizant of, saving and so Jet is, and I get your point. Like, are we okay with how we were parenting? Because he is very penny
aware.
Pinching.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't, Jeremy says you're not supposed to talk about your money, but you have a wad of money and you're 10. Like, let's talk about this. Let's talk about what this looks like. And maybe we should save some stuff and we don't need to buy a $300 Lego set. And,
Yeah. Oh, let's just hope. I mean, basically my general theme, like everything is, we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And then I was also going to say that I had a brain fart, so I don't know what I was going to say. So I'll take a sip of water. It had something to do with the kids and in regard to them mimicking behavior. And it was that, the 9 to 5 is gone.
Yeah.
So that is also the biggest concern. Money is not a concern. How we spend is not a concern. How you get your money. We have conversations all the time. Our main one is we saw people having 9 to 5s.
Yeah.
They don't see that. So their household and their work ethic looks different. That is also why it's very important that I have these invisible rules, I call them. You have to read every single day.
Yeah.
I will make up homework if you don't have homework because you need that ethic of having something called homework because it just gets harder as you go.
Yeah.
So that's me and Jeremy's main concern is that 9 to 5 is gone. So how does that work ethic look for him when his mom is actually burnt out from all the work she did and she took spring break off and he just sees her laying in the same pajamas for 10 days? Like, that doesn't quite make sense because not everybody's parent gets to choose when they take time off. I take all of June off. No one just gets to say, okay, I work, at McDonald's. I just am not going to work for June.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's pros and cons to everything.
Yes.
So I did like a intro to entrepreneurship class for 7th and 8th graders, which you were a part of. Yes. Gosh, we have so many things that we've done together.
I know. That was actually a while ago.
Yeah.
At least a year.
2 years because I've done it I did it. Yeah, so that was 2 years. You did my first year.
Gosh.
So, but yeah, the kids, when we talked about pros and cons of working for yourself, why would you do it?
What'd you find? Yeah, hit me.
They all wanted to work in corporate for 5 years to get something underneath their belt and to get a foundation. And then they all wanted to leave. That seemed to be the general consensus. Nobody had faith in their ideas starting out. And they wanted to just say, kind of conform a little bit and say, I'm going to do it this way, learn the ropes. And then I really like the idea of working for myself. So that was almost unanimous.
Yeah, but if you look back, isn't that kind of what we did?
Yeah.
So if I look at when I explain,
that makes sense.
Yeah, if I explain to somebody where I came from, it's not just one day I was a videographer. I worked for a branding company. I worked for a boutique firm. I did all these things that even when I say them out loud, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool that I did that. I forgot I did that. Yeah.
I wouldn't change anything. I mean, 15 years with university hospitals. I had a lot of great relationships. Was able to help them establish my career and my reputation. And then when I realized that I hit my ceiling way too young, and they told me, it doesn't matter how hard you work, there's a pot of money that is distributed based on how long you've been here. And I was like, oh, okay. So thank you for that. And
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah.
What an aha moment.
Yeah. And I really appreciated that moment. It was very true.
It's probably because you were asking why.
I did.
Yeah.
I was asking, but why?
Yeah.
They told me. So now now I know the ceiling is only what I can handle.
Yeah.
So that's why you're an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's, with you taking the week off and stuff like that, I kind of follow that same where we're going to make big memories or those little micro ones. Like I will find time in every week to do something special. Like Fridays tend to be our let's gather together because my husband travels a lot.
Yeah.
So let's get together and talk about our week. And then we just spend time maybe shooting pool or watching a movie and just chill.
Yeah.
But we always find those micro moments, and then I want to work for the bigger moments, those big memories.
And that's what, so recently Jet's been like, you work so much. And I'm like, yeah, but let's remember, I'm not going to work for all of spring break. And then I am consciously taking all of June off. And he's like, oh, I forgot. I'm like, yeah, there's nothing, no income is coming in the month of June. So I have to make up for that time. Do the moments that you're curating with your kids, with your family, like let's sit down and let's talk, is that kind of how your growing up was? Because I like consciously, almost outside of myself, force our family to do things that I didn't do growing up. So we eat dinner at a table, and I don't care if we only have 5 minutes because Jeremy's got to run to work, and I don't care if it's just rice. We're going to sit down and eat together. Yeah.
I think a lot of us learn from life take what lessons you need and then fill it in with what you want. And I think that's I did a lot of the cooking, and then my parents would show up. So we grew up very young, we grew up quick. So at 10, I was doing laundry and cooking dinner, and then my mom would come home from work. We were kind of latchkey kids. Yeah. And she would come.
Generations blend. Yeah, they blur.
Yeah. So Dad had to work late, so we would always eat, and then I really don't have those traditions. Yeah. But there are different traditions that I really pulled from like my husband's family. Okay. Like Christmas. If with my mom, you eat, you open presents, you rip it apart, you do it's
Same.
Yes.
Same.
And I'm like, no.
Chaos.
Let's take our time. Yes. Absolute chaos.
Absolute chaos. Just throw it everywhere. Just rip it and throw it. And
I'm like, what happened? I didn't even see it.
Yeah, in hindsight, that looks fun until you're the parent. So same thing, my husband's family, when I met them, they actually filmed everybody individually, which was like
Goldbergs.
Oh my, yes. So my father-in-law would film, and I think it went like youngest to oldest. Yes. And it was very methodical and I was not used to that type of attention. Like you bought me something, yay, and now you're like really hyper focusing on it, but that also changed the way we do Christmas.
Yeah. So did you adopt that? Like, oh, I like this.
The slowness. Let's pay attention. Let's see this one thing that Santa brought you. That part of it. Yeah. That we did. I changed other things on my own. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, with like growing up and stuff, we had just a different childhood. Like I grew up in the country. I want my kids outside more. Like
Where'd you grow up?
Norwalk, Ohio, or Monroeville.
Okay.
So kind of by Cedar Point.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you had some land.
Yeah. So do you remember the movie Fern Gully? I think I mentioned this to you before, where all the fairies were in the woods. Yes. That's what I imagined my childhood was. Oh, like I put on like waders and I like went through the creek and I'm singing and I'm a fairy. Okay. Yeah, people are learning way too much. Yeah. But this is the 80s. Yeah. And no TV. No. I remember, wow, the technology. We had channels 3, 5, and 8. Yes. Do you remember the summer that it was the O.J. Simpson trial?
Correct, I do.
Miserable.
I was in 4th grade.
Yeah, Sally Jesse Raphael.
Oh, she just turned 90.
Really?
Oh, I felt very old. I was like, wait a second. Yeah. Hold on. Yes.
What was the other guy?
Not Geraldo. Phil Donahue.
Oh, well, Phil Donahue, but there was also...
Philip Donahue.
Yeah. He passed, right?
I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, that whole time frame when we had
Maury Povich. The God has spoken. Thank you. My fact checker.
Montel Williams?
Montel. He had Sylvia Brown on
Brown.
All the time. That was a showstopper in our house. Yeah.
I watched that all the time. So yeah, we had channels 3, 5, and 8. No MTV at our house.
No, and we tell this to Jet all the time. Okay. What did you have a TV in your bedroom?
No.
Okay. So I did, but I had the wood panel TV. Yeah. The little tiny box. Yeah. With the little 2 antennas and the little dial. And you weren't supposed to watch TV, but if you snuck it and you turned the audio down, that light stayed on. And you prayed that the light dimmed just in time that your parents came in to check on you. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. No, I mean, it was just completely different. Puzzles, coloring, singing in the woods.
So you're Fern Gully. So I
Fern Gully.
am, do you remember the Buttercream Gang?
No.
Oh, okay. In 5th grade, this VHS tape came home, and it was the Buttercream Gang, and it was kind of like Sandlot meets, who are the girls on bikes? Christina Ricci was in it. I'm having a brain fart. Anyways.
It's not the Babysitter Club stuff.
No, but
it's not,
but along the lines of that and the Boxcar Children. It was called the Buttercream Gang.
I kind of remember it.
So to me, it was like we didn't have space. So I grew up in Firestone Park. We had betweens of houses, and it was about the width of the table. And, you know, things grew and plants, and you're climbing, you know, between pricker bushes. And
pricker bushes.
So, like, probably should have went for Fern Gully, but to me, I was on some sort of adventure, getting yelled at for being behind people's houses and intimidating their dogs, and just spending hours in this little tiny space, imagining how can I secure a chair in the tree?
Yes. There was one
and
time
take a
we
nap
took,
in the tree.
There was one time we took like machetes and huge hedge clippers and cleared out an entire, because we had horses, cleared out an entire portion of a pasture. My parents were like, "What'd you do all day?" I'm like, yeah, we didn't just take massive tools out of your shop and not chop our fingers off, but clear out an entire.
We did that too behind a Vanderveer on Main Street. They had like. It went out of business, and all the stuff was growing, and we were just hacking it, and all the kids are catching frogs. And
so what do you think about our kids now? Like, they don't have to do that.
No, I take Jet. We have. I can tell sometimes when school and life and all these things, right? Because we're 10, and there's all these emotions happening, and I'm overwhelmed by talking about, you know, the Jerry Springer on the playground, little kids' lives. So we do an like nature baptism.
Okay.
And that it basically, he needs reset.
Yeah.
So we go to the park and just take a stick, hit a tree, climb a tree, I don't care, get in the water, get wet, get muddy, and I check in. I'm like, "Okay, how you feeling now?" I feel a little bit better.
I'm going to steal that.
We walk a little bit further. I'm like, "Well, you know, how do you feel now?" And he can't leave until he visibly looks like the weight has drained off of him, and I can tell by his demeanor and his respect and how he's talking to me that he actually feels okay. We actually just did that on Wednesday.
You're such a good mom.
Thank you. You should steal it. It's great.
I am. I'm definitely going to steal that.
We're going on Saturday, consciously going to do it again, and we're going to take him to, I saw something, Ohio Destinations posted about one of the parks, Metro Parks.
Okay.
And it was like the most magical place.
Send that to me.
I will send it to you. I sent it to Jeremy. I was like, "We are going here." It was like where the rocks are made from steps, and you're going in caves. And I'm sure it's somewhere that we went on a field trip in school.
Tell Jeremy he inspired Scott to. We're doing spring break in Pittsburgh.
Are you?
Because Jeremy was like, "Yeah, there's so much fun to do in Pittsburgh. We're just gonna do, you know," told everything, and now all of a sudden he has it planned.
We had a blast in Pittsburgh. Yes.
So thank gosh for our husbands becoming friends. That's a funny story.
That is a funny story. Yeah. But they're like contained friends, because I see it in their eyes when they get together. And I've told Jeremy, I said, "You're not allowed to hang with Scott without me and Amy." I see in their eyes there's like a little spark and some fire and some mischievousness.
Yeah.
Like the 18, 19 to 25-year-olds come out in them. And I see it happening.
Yeah, at first, and I didn't realize this. So Scott told me when two men are like introduced, like, you know, we're friends, we know each other. He goes, "There's like this like barrier where you're like, I don't want to like you, man. Like, I don't want to." Really? Jeremy said it too, apparently.
Is there?
I don't know. This is their conversation that he told me, that there's this like, what does my wife know about me? So,
really?
Yeah, this apparently.
Where the heck was I? Was this at the fashion show? It must have been.
This was at the bingo night.
What? Where was I? Oh, I was
with
wine. I went through
yeah.
some wine. They were pouring wine.
Yeah,
that day.
they were having fun. But they agreed that night they're like, we actually do like each other. We weren't sure. Like they did.
Yeah.
like each other when we went out to dinner. But it was like two people forcing us together. We don't want this to work. You can't tell me what to do. And this is my interpretation of what Scott is telling me.
All right.
This
I'm
is
not
not a verbatim.
when I go home, like,
this is not a verbatim conversation. This is my interpretation of how I see it playing out.
It's okay. I'll be Jeremy. You be, what's up, bro? I don't even remember. It was like a very subtle, like tension. You're right, I guess, if I have to look back. Like,
they're like, who is this guy? Yeah. What is he about? And they're like, well, you're pretty cool. So, we can do it again.
They laughed. They made each other laugh. They had a drink. And then it all, like, woosah.
Everything was good.
And then the next time it's, what's up, dude? How you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then we did dinner. And
I suppose it's like a blind date.
I guess that's true. I really don't try to force him to meet too many people, but I don't know. I don't even know why we had them meet. We were like, this has to happen.
Well, because we went out to dinner.
Yeah.
You and I wanted to go out to dinner.
Oh, yeah, I guess we had to drag them along. But it worked out. They're great. They love each other.
We all wanted to go back to Akron U.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
That time. Yeah.
What a weird time to be in a bar.
Well, okay, what was the bar? Was it Barley House?
Downtown Akron? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it
Barley House? So we went at like Christmas time.
Yeah.
Because we went to have a drink after dinner. Mm-hmm. And then when we walked in, they were playing at like 9:30 at night.
Oh, my Lanta. Like, oh, holy night. And
well, didn't they do shots like by Little John? Like shots. And then they went to Oh Holy Night?
Because there was a couple and they were really getting down and having a great night. And we were just standing, because then it transitions to like Oh Holy Night and they're still taking lots of shots. And you and I are just standing there like, are we missing?
Nobody had issue with it.
No.
At all. There was, 10 people in the entire space? I don't know, maybe a little bit more.
We were just like, oh, maybe we'll just have this drink and go. It didn't really... It put me to sleep. I was like, I gotta go home and go
all
to bed.
The Christmas carols, and then they'd throw in Nelly. And nobody was fazed except us.
Yeah.
We're like, is this real?
No, but it further solidified the bond that Jeremy and Scott now have. Thank you to Scott for going to the fashion show.
Yes.
Not a whole lot of men get, drugged to that.
Yeah. They were so cute together.
Yeah.
You did a great job in the fashion show, by the way. It was fun.
Thank you for coming. I didn't even get to talk about, our time is almost up, and we didn't even, let's go out with a bang.
Okay.
Speaking of the fashion show, one of my favorite memories, because I said you're my partner in cake crime, which is my favorite memory of you, is talk about it. What happened? The fashion show, if you don't know, it's put on by Medina County does it, supports the seniors. They have a fashion show. Local people come. They get dressed up. And in the center of the table, everybody gets a cake, which to me is my favorite part.
Yes.
And then at some point, y'all just dive in and just go crazy over cake.
And we were there supporting one of the models, Trudy?
Yes.
Trudy.
Yes.
And was it her that said, I don't like our cake?
Yes. She's roughly 90, so really tiny. So it was our first outing.
Yeah.
As like, oh, we're friends. Will you come with me?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And she's 90, and she does not like our cake. Oops. Yeah.
So we didn't want her to pick up the cake. She was going to...
You didn't want her to pick up the cake.
Fall into the cake. You were fine. Yeah.
There are some things that will, like, I'm embarrassed. I'm very embarrassed. Please don't do this. There are like 300 people here.
Oh, I have no filter.
You don't. You were just like, let me help you out, girl.
I'm going to switch that cake.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the horse. I mean, the horse, where is that horse? I have that horse, right? Because it was a Kentucky Derby. So, yes, I am notorious for...
You assisted the 90-year-old woman who is, and it was a heavy cake at a large table. She's bending over, grabbing the cake. It's not looking very sturdy. And here comes PT Amy. She's like, I have muscles. I got this. She's like, let me help you. And I videoed the whole thing because I was dying inside. Like, oh my God, everybody's looking. We were in the back corner. Nobody cared. But to me, all eyes were on us.
That surprises me that you were embarrassed by me.
There are some things that if it involves like...
Etiquette?
Yeah, etiquette. I'm not saying we were being rude, but it could be construed as rude. That's when I like really ball up.
I did tell you about my upbringing.
Yeah, so I was actually really appreciative that you helped. It made it fun. It made it great. And I learned a lot about you. Like, oh, Amy's the one. If you want to steal a cake,
I will do that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
thanks.
that's a whole other conversation. I once had a palm tree. Somebody wanted a palm tree.
I used to be that person.
That person had that palm tree.
I used to be that person.
Yeah. Then you realize that there are rules and things like that.
That's a different conversation.
Yes.
And we're out of time right now.
All right.
It's not
That was
your
super
fault.
fast.
It's not your fault. It's my fault that we have to end the podcast. Okay, but the one thing that I need you to do, you have cameras. I need you to tell our community what you have going on right now in the world.
Okay, well, we did not cover this. So let me start with I am Amy McMillan. I am the owner of Custom Care Rehab, which is a concierge physical therapy company that services all of Northeast Ohio. We have a team of 7 therapists that have their own specialties. We go right to your doorstep or your workplace and deliver physical therapy right to your doorstep. So we are actively looking for local businesses that might want an on-site PT or just to collaborate with a fellow small business, like a med spa, a mental health care counseling firm, a law firm, a CPA firm, a hairstylist for overworked salons, or a yoga studio. So we do spot treatments where we come in, we bring our table, and we treat your clients or your staff to like a mini PT session, and it gets people to kind of understand what we do as manual-based therapists. So that's the company that I own.
I didn't say any
in
of that.
Northeast Ohio.
I didn't say any.
No,
I
the
thought-
whole time.
I thought I said all of that. 40 minutes. I said everything you just said.
Yeah, I mean, everybody learned about all the reasons they probably don't want to work with me. This is the reason you do. We're good at what we do.
You're perfect. You're perfect. Thanks for being on my podcast.
Thank you so much, Jenny.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. Hey, you own that mug.
I do.